And you can continue.
So yeah, like we have a bunch of apps, and I'm responsible for some of them, like for the full cycle. And like our company, the management is based in Israel, but like all the development team is across the world. Like in my team, one developer is in Vietnam, other in Turkey, the third developer is in Hong Kong. So yeah, like the management.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, the management is here, but the team is really international. And I just like finished my MasaTech program. I did RIA, and I continue to live in Beersheba and work in the company I found with MasaTech.
Cool. Thank you. Leonardo?
Okay. Hello, guys. My name is Leo. I'm 27 years old. I guess I am one of the latest participants in MasaTech. I've been here for almost a month. I got here June 6th, so pretty recent. I am a software developer. I got a job in Bagheera. Bagheera is a simulation defense company. They are very attached to the military. This was something that's very different from my background in Brazil, so I've been seeing a lot of new stuff. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Okay, that's perfect. Did you say what you're doing, your position?
Yeah, I'm a
Okay.
software developer at Bagheera.
Cool. And Jonathan?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan. I'm from LA. I moved to Israel almost a year ago now, late July, and I started working at my current company in late October, which means I've been there for what, about like 9 months now. The company is Bluebird Aero Systems. It's a drone company, and I'm a systems engineer there.
Thank you. I prepared a few questions, but like I said, you guys, if you want to ask anything, are 4 people, you can feel free and reach out. I will also, with their permission, share with you afterwards their email, so you can reach out, email them, and ask them your questions if you want on private. So I wanted to ask you guys, and you can feel free to answer it if you have a good answer to the question. What strategies did you was most effective in finding a job here in Israeli tech industry? Like, is there any tips you can give the fellows who are looking for a job and for a few weeks or months now? Maybe Leonardo, maybe you can have some tip.
Of course. Yeah, I'd say that definitely searching through LinkedIn. Another thing that I also tried was something maybe you know of a company that you're very interested in and you feel very excited about working there. You might also go to their website and look for their open positions. But it's very, very likely that the position is also going to be offered on LinkedIn. So you definitely should be going through LinkedIn a lot of times a day and as frequent as you can. Something also that I like to point out is that LinkedIn might be a very good tool, but you kind of need to learn and to know how to use it actually. Because you might at first start searching for profiles or positions that are very related to your experience, but you definitely should also search for positions that are not as synergistic with your past experience as well. So you should. I've heard this on a meeting a while ago. It's a game of numbers. So the more you send, the more likely you'll find a position. So I guess that LinkedIn is a very good tool.
Yeah. Nelson, you're politely raising your hand.
I raised my hand. I was about to recommend also LinkedIn.
I got my position after a direct contact, so I went via LinkedIn, but I think LinkedIn is really useful because there are a lot of positions there. And even if I didn't take an offer that I got from LinkedIn, I think it's also really useful because most participants start like the searching progress outside of Israel. So it's a way to get a better touch with the Israeli industry, know what they are asking, try to see if you have like different kind of meetings and technical challenges, if they are like at the same kind of difficulty or what is expected from past experience. So I think it's something that even if it might be a little bit tiresome, it's totally worth it for the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John.
I'll definitely echo both what Leo and Nelson said. I think LinkedIn is a good tool, but something specific to what Leo said is he said look for a variety of jobs, and I absolutely agree. I would say take it one step further and make sure that you have a resume which is angled towards each of those kinds of jobs. So if you're doing, like if you're thinking about either software development or front end or back end or product management, make sure that you have a resume, even if you don't have that much experience, like you should try to kind of angle the entries of your resume to each of those individual positions as much as you can. I mean, in the US, they told me, you know, people look at a resume for 5 seconds. In Israel, people are impatient. So you can do the math and figure out how long they look at your resume here. Beyond that, what I would say is on LinkedIn, don't just look for jobs and apply, but look at the company that you're interested in, find the employees there and reach out individually. I would say that out of, let's say, 5 people I reached out to, 1 person would get back, but a lot of times that turned into an interview and an on-site visit. And I found that that was really effective.
Yeah. I also want to echo that. Also because I've heard about that from many people, like contacting people from LinkedIn and then asking them or telling them who you are and what you're looking for. A lot of Israelis love to help. So I think that that can be a good idea. Also, not only Israelis, like if you're a Spanish speaker or if you're a, I don't know, like Russian speaker or something, maybe you can find people from your own community that can connect you or recommend you to other people in your company. Yeah, do you have any advice, Mike?
Yeah, like here I should
Yeah.
at plus 100 because like like your community is actually a very strong thing. So actually, like while I was contacting like Russian speakers, the like percentage of people who are asking was 100%. So really so above from that, like there is a lot of communities, like for example for Russian speakers, there is like a big Israeli high-tech community, like it's called like Startup Nation. And like I thought that like I know that there is like, despite it's English, but still like there is some communities from guys who made Aliyah from United States. So yeah, like I think that there is some should be community from Spanish speakers. So just searching for this community and asking for advice for promoting there is really helping, because like the easiest of communication and all that thing is something that you probably should use.
So I'm sending the link to Startup Nation Central, like what you just said, so everyone can open that and use that. Are there any specific communities you guys know of, or something specific, not only LinkedIn, but some group maybe on Telegram or maybe on Facebook, or anything you know that can be of help? Nevo, amazing. Great idea, Jonathan. So Nevo is basically a mentorship kind of program, and we work with them often. We'll try to do some collab also for MasaTech, and yeah, Reboot 100%. Also a great community, and we're looking into Reboot doing another webinar hopefully next month. So I will stay tuned. They can really give you great tips. Yeah, I wanted to also ask, what is your advice for people that apply for many jobs, interviewing and then getting rejected last minute, or interviewing and then, I don't know, something doesn't work for a while, getting a bit discouraged? I know some of you have been interviewing for a while before landing this position. Do you have any tips for them? Someone, Nelson, Leonardo, Jonathan, Mike.
Okay. Well, in my case, when I travel to Israel, I have some in-person interviews, and
Yeah.
everything seemed like it fit perfectly, even when meeting the team. But suddenly they froze the position because they changed the manager. So it was really strange, because we even talked. It was already closed almost. So I decided it was a little bit of a disappointment in that sense. So some way you need to be able to be capable to handle frustration of those scenarios. I also spoke with a friend who's not part of MasaTech. She's part of another Masa program, but she landed here and had a really similar situation. So for me, it's okay, if you just came here and what you get offered turns out not being not crystallizing into the opportunity, because most of jobs are with startups that move really fast, and it's something that can happen, that they open positions, they close positions, and it's not something that I can tell for sure. I can tell for sure that might not happen to any of you. So it's important to be able to handle those situations. And also, if any of you are already here, try to participate of collaborative spaces in order to get to better know different companies, and try to get more insights if you're already here. For example, I got my job when I was searching here in Israel.
Yeah, great answer.
Yeah, it's important to remember that job searches can be pretty binary. It's it's not like there's a loading bar and you can see it go from left to right across the screen. It's pretty much, I don't have a job, I don't have a job, I don't have a job, oh, I have a job. It's very yes or no. It's harder to keep track of your progress. So just know that as long as each day you're putting in an effort, you're speaking to people, as long as you see interviews coming in, each time you interview, you're getting better and better at it. You're making more and more contacts. Eventually things will fall into place. It just sometimes takes more time than you would want. Obviously, if you don't feel like you're making any traction, you don't feel like you're getting any interviews, you're getting any attention, you're getting any responses, re-examine your strategy, readjust, and then try again. But yeah, just know that it's very binary. And then in terms of what you need to put in the chat, most people, my first interview was over Zoom, but I have the luxury that I speak Hebrew, and so half my interview was in Hebrew. I kind of gave them the sense that I was coming to Israel without a doubt. Whereas if even if a company agrees to interview over Zoom, even if it even appears in question that you'll be making your way over, it's hard to say how seriously they'll take you. Your success interviewing will definitely be higher in person if you can. Obviously, that's not something that everybody can do. So do what you can remotely, do as much research, as you can. But even things like finding an apartment here, a lot of things are done in person, and it'll be really hard to close the deal on anything if you're not physically here. So I would say, yeah, do all the research and groundwork you can abroad, wherever you are, but know that there are things that will just be a lot easier and a lot faster once you're actually here.
Yeah. Nelson, and Nelson came here, and you, Jonathan, you have Hebrew, but both Mike and Leo both interviewed not from here. So that's a good question. I don't know, you guys, if you saw Yaniv's question in the chat. He asked about like how it is like interviewing in Israel versus interviewing not in Israel. How to efficiently, right? Is this efficiently? Interviewing remotely versus traveling to Israel and interview in person. I don't know if you have, Mike.
So yeah, according to my story, so for me, the company called Job Hunt, which helped me finally, like MasaTech asked Job Hunt to help me, and so this company that was effective for me. So what did they advise? Like I was totally not in Israel. What did they advise is like just make using a special app like Israeli number. So for the companies like on the just recruitment moment, for them they would have a feeling like they are calling just on the Israeli number. So, and I think it like that's a must, because it's like always like you need to pass the first stage, because after that they're talking with the person, not just with the resume. So like make it so simple. So after you have like the Israeli number, so yeah, about the Israeli number, it's like called 033 Global. It's like a mobile app. Like you pay some, I don't need to pay it first, and you just get a number like which accept the Israeli number that you get accepted by the internet. So
I think it's 015. 015 global.
So I just want to say we did used to kind of suggest 015 global, and then I started seeing how both they gave like a weird number, so it brought a lot of question mark to recruiters, and also it didn't always work. So I stopped suggesting it just because I thought for some cases it's not bringing a lot of value, even the opposite. But really recently, I found out about a number that I just called a number and someone abroad answered. It was very Israeli. So I kind of looked into that, into her specifically, her number, and I'll send you the link now, so you can also try. I have to say, I didn't try that. I don't know if it works well, but I know it works well for her. So let me send you here on the chat so you can get the Israeli phone number in this new app. You can even try the two apps, the one that Mike said, and this one. So try both.
So yeah, like I think that was a big thing, also having like WhatsApp on this number. And after I was contacted with recruiters, like later on, like some of them, like most of them actually, just getting out after listening that I don't know Hebrew. So like most of the recruiters is just like no Hebrew, bye. But for all those who is okay with English, they are also okay with me like doing interview from other country. Like the most important thing that also guys suggested me is that you just like talking every time like, yes, I just right now not here, soon coming to Israel, start working, Aliyah. Just telling that like it's not like Masa 4 months, even guys, if you're not planning actually, but still, you're just saying that like because companies of course want a worker for a long period. So yeah, come here, program Aliyah. So it's not feeling like you are just Masa intern for 4 months, like in a lot of cases happens.
Yeah, great point. Did you want to ask something, Joseph?
Absolutely. So I'm trying to better understand the system, So I see that there is some help connecting with platforms, etc., groups. which is fantastic. But also, is MasaTech also providing, emails? Oh, Jeff, I would like to connect you with somebody working at the Jewish agency for a data science role. Would you like to interview with them on Monday? So is it working like that as well, or is it only, some indirect connections?
I'm not sure I quite understood. You asked if we at MasaTech connect you with companies via email?
Yes, for example, more direct connections.
Yeah. So in some cases, we can make the connection, but we usually back you up on like behind the scenes. So you can see a position you're interested in I don't know, like you said, Jewish agency, although it's not a tech company, but I'll use that company as an example. And if I have a good connection there, I reach out to the person and I say, hey, check out Joseph. He's great. He's qualified. He's interested in this specific position. And then I can guarantee that they will look at your CV, but I can't guarantee that they want to interview. If they do want to, usually they reach out to you. And not through us. We're happy to make the connection all the time, like we don't have any problem. But usually because, in the job industry, it doesn't work like that. No one connects you usually. So, or like it's rarely, maybe someone from within the company connects you with someone else. Then we usually just hand them your CV. We contact with them and then they'll do the connection. But we are very connected with a lot of people. So what we offer as MasaTech is the connections to the companies without the guarantee of actually getting an interview, just for having someone to look at your CV and obviously to back you up here, trying to find connections in many companies. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, definitely. And that works, seamlessly, or is it like a point of contact for every applicant? Yeah, I mean, this is part of the process. It's my first interview learning about the program. So
yeah,
naturally,
sure.
I have some zones of I would like clarification on, but that's very good. Thank you. I appreciate the answer.
Of course. We don't have connections with all the companies, but because Israel is very small, and I think I'll add, like we touched a bit on the subject of how important it is to have connections here that will apply for your behalf. We are offering to be that person for you. So we're highly connected. As you know or don't know, Masa is well known with his internship programs. So we're very connected with companies that want interns, not specifically workers. But because we already are connected with those companies, we're able to say, hey, we see this open position. Let's we have a great person. Let's you can see his CV. And we are offering to be that connection to you. But like the guy said, you can always make new connections, whether in your community, your same culture that lives here, or through new connections on LinkedIn, or family members. Like everything can work. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Great. That sounds superb.
Amazing. I don't know if you guys wanted to say, like, Leonardo, did you have any, I don't know, did you feel some like different, like how was it to interview so far away? Leonardo is also from Brazil, like he said, so it's time difference and there's a lot of challenges with that. So how was your experience?
Yeah, definitely. I can add a few stuff on that. I'd say that the interview process was very similar to a lot of remote positions I did. Something that I would like to highlight that someone said, I think it was Jonathan, you need to be very, very serious on your that you are coming here. Like this is a very important part where after you make a connection, after you get an interview, this is one of the questions they will ask you, and you need to be very serious and sure that yes, this is what I want, and I'll be there as soon as possible. But as for the interview, all of the interviews I did was through the internet. Most of the companies have reviews on websites like Glassdoor that people go there and tell how was their experience on the interviews. For example, oh, the first round it was a talk with the HR. The second round they gave me an assignment. You can even find information about what was the assignment, so you could plan ahead. And so, yeah, I didn't feel like I had a very different experience regarding the interview process. And you should be honest. You should be certain that this is what you want. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. I really want to emphasize what Leo just said. When you're not sure when you're coming and you're being hesitant on your interview or your first initial call with the recruiter, it just makes them not call you again. You need to kind of sell yourself and show them how motivated you are to come as soon as you find a job. Remember, everything you want to negotiate, you can do it after they show interest in you. Once you pass the task or something, they know that they want you. And then you can negotiate salary, you can negotiate a start date, a lot of things. So yeah, great point. If you want that, you're working on finding an interview and you come here. So thank you, Leo. I also wanted to ask, like, you guys, if you have any question like Yaniv did, Yaniv or Joseph, you can write on the chat if you don't want to say out loud, or you can just ask away. Feel really free. The guys are here for you to answer your questions. I'm sure you have tons of questions. And I have a question of my own. Is there anything you suggest people to prepare themselves, even mentally, to this transition, this cultural transition? Like, how did you experience this cultural transition in the work? Like, how the work environment is different from your own work environment? Any tips on that? Yeah.
I think two things that jumped out to me since I've started are the first thing is that in the office, at least for me, it's a relatively small company, but I'm pretty sure this is all over the place. The office is a lot more friendly. People are a lot more open. When I showed up, I had like 5 different people saying, "Oh, I'll help you with this, and I'll help you with this." Like, people helped me get a driver's license. People helped me get an appointment with like Misada Pnim, like the internal ministry here. There was pretty much every aspect of my process of making Aliyah that somebody at the office had some help with, either a contact or advice or something. So when you're there, don't be afraid to be open and honest. Don't be afraid to be like, "Yo, I really need help with this." Like, chances are something that'll take you days to do will take somebody hours, minutes, or even seconds who's already living here, who speaks Hebrew and who knows who to call, who might have a connection. On the other side of the coin, I don't know, where each of you guys is from, but in the States, meetings are generally pretty relaxed, pretty organized, pretty methodical. In Israel, meetings are absolute chaos. Like, my first few meetings, I wanted to just, I was so done. I'm like, how does anybody get anything done here? This is a country full of crazy people. What the actual F? I'm not entirely used to it yet, but there is a bit of a different dynamic when it comes to how things get done around here. Sometimes it can be a little bit chaotic. Sometimes people raise their voice. It's never in malice. Oftentimes people who argue and yell at each other are having lunch together literally like 15 minutes later. It's totally normal, nothing to freak out about, but it takes some getting used to.
Amazing, thank you. Nelson, do you have any tip for the cultural?
Yes, but I guess my tip won't be that useful because I work for an international company. So basically, in the laboratory work, it's what they call like global environment, and everything is in English. All the documents, even all the meetings need to be in English. So that keeps it like really different from most Israeli companies. Also because of the procedures and the way we work, and that because there's a lot of people from France and Russia. So basically it's more like I think it's more like in the US that really an Israeli company, even if it's here in Israel. So regarding the work environment and that, I found like really tight in general, but I think it's something specific of my work and not the general rule here in Israel. So maybe my answer is not that useful.
No, you work in an American company that's based
Exactly.
in a
Yeah,
with
so,
a
yes,
base
for,
in
for the
Israel.
city group, but they have laboratory, they have multiple innovation labs. Like here in Israel, in Tel Aviv, they have one, and they have well, now I think they have two, one here and one in London. And so most of the teams I work with are from London and from Florida. So basically, yes, and even here, the one.
You're a bit cut off a little bit, so we can't hear
I
you.
try to wait.
Okay.
Now maybe you hear me better,
Yeah.
but with more noise. Okay, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
it's with the headphones.
Yeah.
So basically what I said is like, in my experience in my company here, it's like everything really tidy, even working with the local teams, because we need to adjust to criteria and to procedures that are not defined here in Israel, basically because it's international. So yeah, it's a really different experience from what I think that most of you will have in the startup community, in the startup companies.
Okay. Thanks. Leonardo, do you have any? You just arrived.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, you.
Yeah, this is this is I think that this is very personal from person to person. I'd say that if you want to be here, you definitely need to be open-minded and willing to try different things, because life works differently here, depending, of course, on from where you come from. But from Brazil, for example, things are very different here. But something that I also like to point out is that people are willing to help here, from literally anything, like Jonathan said. I had a lot of issues when I got here, like questions, stupid questions, like how do I control the bank application? Because my bank application here is entirely in Hebrew, so like I don't know how to do a transaction, and people come and help. Or I need an advice of place to eat, and people come, and people also offer to drive me to a specific store to buy a specific product. So my experience in general with Israeli people have been amazing, because even though it's very different from our reality, but they are always willing to help. And yeah, this is this is it.
Amazing. I can echo that and say Israelis love immigrants, and we were all like have immigrants in our family, our grandmothers, our parents, so we're very welcoming and we love to help. So I think, Mike, you had a good experience with Maria, right? That she was very like an Israeli from your company that was very involved in helping you settle, right? How did you experience this cultural gap in work? Mike? Did you hear?
Sorry, yeah, I just like
Yeah. I just asked, how did you experience this cultural gap at work? Because Maria was so helpful, helping you, right? Helping you settle. And I don't know, like, did you have anything in mind about this? How to prepare, like, culturally or cultural differences?
So like personally, yeah, like I just want to be honest, I think that, like, you know, corporate culture between companies like still much more differ than like between cultures. So like in my personal case, like corporate culture of the companies I used to work before, like it was a great companies, like with a good culture. So I could not say that, like, for me, like talking about the working culture itself, it was like a real big change, because mostly like most rules of working culture actually for me saved. So like yeah, like the only things that get for me different, that like Israel is like usually okay with delays, and like, and also like the work here for me, what I'm thinking is like it's much more like something personal discussions just in the time of working, and like that thing that it's like people are more perceived as a people, so it's less like cold professionality. But in the other stuff, for me, like it's mostly I have like the same work culture, talking about work itself.
Yes, it's a very laid back work culture, but it doesn't come in expense of the professionalism. So it's something to take into consideration. Joseph, you asked about if there's a follow-up Zoom. So basically, we might do another Zoom with fellows in a few months from now. Maybe some different people, maybe the same. I'm not sure, but I will definitely email about that. And I want to also address Jonathan wrote that the Israeli cell number starts with 05 and then continues the number. Usually when the app gives you a number, it starts with the country code. The country code is plus 972. And then the 5 comes. So instead of the 0, there's plus 972. You should have that in mind. When you write on your CV, you should delete the plus 972, write a 0 instead. Please email me if you have any questions about that. Be happy to help you. Don't deal with this alone. Like always, you can reach out to your placement coordinator or someone from the staff that will be happy to help you with that. This is the perks of being a part of Masa. I'm not sure. I don't have, like, I think you shared a lot of things. I want to give you guys some time, like the people that stayed here, and yeah, Ivan, you can go ahead.
Hey, what's up? Okay,
Hi.
so first of all, thanks a lot to the speakers. Really insightful comments. I want to introduce myself very briefly. I'm from Argentina. I live by the Andes Mountains, and I'm thinking about making MasaTech plus Aliyah. I'm really into moving into Israel. And I guess my question goes back a little bit to the interviewing process and submitting, you know, like my CV and stuff like that. I guess my question is, how sure were you about your positions? Because, for instance, in my situation, I am like a shapeshifter. I'm a nuclear engineer, but I made my master's degree in aerospace. Now I'm a machine learning professor, plus I do mathematical modeling for markets. And when I go to the job market, either Israel or worldwide, I get this feeling that I need to collapse into one decision. I was wondering if any of you had similar experience related to this. You know, like you're a backend, but you also like frontend, and you had to decide when you were applying, for instance. I don't know if the question was clear.
No, it's clear. I think it depends on the company and it depends on the position. Some people, like, to get your foot in the door, sometimes it helps to show you're very, very proficient in one specific line of work. Because if, let's say, it depends on who's looking at your resume, right? If it's like a hiring manager, then okay, you know, someone who might actually end up being your manager who's looking at your resume, and then it's like, okay, cool, they might want to know about the different things that you're capable in because they have something in mind for you. But if it's a recruiter who just is looking for, you know, people who are very, very good with this specific language, who are good at back end, they won't care about anything else. They'll just, you know, it's a checkbox. Unfortunately, the recruiters are not always the best at trying to understand fully what you're good at and figuring it out. They'll look at a few things on your resume, like, oh, I have something for that, you know. It's more of a volume game for them, unfortunately. So initially, I think I would say, like, go very strong into one area, and then through that, and you know, through having very specific resumes in a number of different directions, figure out how you might be able to broaden the job description once you're already with a foot in the door and getting used to things.
Amazing, thanks.
Does anyone
with regards,
maybe try to go for a CTO position.
You're shooting too high, maybe. I don't know.
there was a question in the chat: does your workplace expect you to learn Hebrew? Depends heavily on the workplace. I think that Israelis, generally speaking, like when people try to learn Hebrew. You know, the attitude is like, if you know, even if you're like on the street and you're a tourist, if you try to speak some Hebrew, most Israelis respond positively. So you can imagine how they respond in the workplace when you at least make an effort. When you make Aliyah, you also, or at least, you know, I know that you might not make Aliyah immediately, but as part of Aliyah, you also have Ulpan, which is free Hebrew classes, but there are things you can do before then to start to become proficient. Not necessarily an expectation, but it certainly won't, you know, it'll only be positive.
I can add that the expectation is basically English, also from Israelis. There's a few companies that the whole culture, the environment there is Hebrew, so they won't even consider people that doesn't know Hebrew. I know Moon Active, for example, they're open for people that doesn't know Hebrew, but very specific positions. Most of the positions, they want people that know Hebrew so they can communicate with the other team members, but it's not all companies, it's just specific ones. Most companies looking to be globalized have a lot of R&D centers around the world, maybe not even Israeli companies, like companies that are from somewhere else and have the R&D center here in Israel. So like Nelson's company. Hebrew is a big plus, but it's not necessary 100%.
To order falafel, that's all.
Hebrew is good to manage in Israel and not get, you know, people to scam you around like everywhere else. Especially in the market when you need to kind of like negotiate prices on cucumbers, but basically you can manage in Tel Aviv in Israel without Hebrew 100%. I'm trying to go through the question you asked. If anyone wants to say them, feel free to just, you know, unmute yourself. You don't need to open your camera if you don't want to, but I'll just try and read them really quickly. Do you think the job market is better than okay. Jonathan, you answered. Do you mind reading and kind of answering out loud so we can all enjoy the answer?
Sure. So obviously it depends on where you're from. For me, from the US, like generally speaking, the answer is probably no. It would have probably been easier for me to find a job in the US. Like, you know, I went to colleges that are considered not so bad, and here they're like, you went to what? Isn't that like, you know, like they don't know much about where you're from, what you've done. Some names they'll recognize, others less so. But for me personally speaking, I'm an aerospace engineer, and I wasn't really interested in working for a large company. And most of the most of the jobs that I would find in the US are all of these really large, you know, 50, 60, 100,000 people companies. I already had that experience, and I wasn't interested in doing that again. And in Israel, there happened to be a lot of small aerospace companies, and in general, a good high tech scene with a lot of smaller firms. And that was kind of the direction I was looking to go to anyway. So in my case, it worked out.
Thanks. Anyone else have a question? I don't know. Leo or Ivan or Joseph, yeah.
Yes, it's interesting. Maybe you can help me clarify that. So I have like, if you want two opposite sense messages, on the one hand, I'm advised to stay home and find a job. And on the other, I'm told that maybe it would be better to be in Israel to find a job, because you can meet for coffee, you can interview in person. So I know there is not a straight answer to that, but maybe also on LinkedIn, I'm being blocked because they say, oh, I see you are in the US, but the position is in Jerusalem. So maybe I can hear what you can suggest concerning this.
You can change your location on LinkedIn and, you know, just say you're in Israel.
Yeah, I mean,
and like we said, we have the phone number kind of that can help you and connect your phone to an Israeli phone number. But Nelson has something to say about that.
Yeah, because it's a good question. I started, for example, my search like when I was in Argentina, but I instantly started traveling around the world because that was my plan at the moment. So my plan was just to travel around the world and then go to Israel. But I think that a good idea could be not to just travel directly to Israel to have interviews and have try to have here, but first to try to see the market itself with interviews from Zoom, just to try to see if you get to the challenges, if you have good replies after you send your challenges, and if you think that you are a good match for the Israeli market, then it might be a good idea to come here and have maybe in-person interviews and stuff. But before trying it from your country, I guess that the risk is higher, right? Because it's maybe an investment in not only money but also in time, because if you don't have an offer and you come here, it's time that you can do invest in another thing. So my recommendation is to start it from wherever you are, and check if you think you are comfortable with the process, if you think you're a good match for the market, and then take the decision that suits you best.
Great, thank you. And also there was a question here from David. Sorry, David. How did MasaTech help you through the process? What value did it give you to be in MasaTech and not just doing it by yourself, making Aliyah or something like that? I don't know, whoever wants to answer.
Sorry, he asked about the benefits of MasaTech.
Yeah, why joining MasaTech? Why MasaTech and not making Aliyah and doing it by yourself?
First of all, I'm not sure about doing Aliyah, and for example, I didn't do Aliyah. And I'm not thinking in doing Aliyah maybe in the next year. However, I think that MasaTech was a good choice in the sense that I didn't know anything about the market, the job market here in Israel. I came here a few years ago and I really liked Israel, but it's really hard to try luck on your own without any kind of support or assistance from. So from that standpoint, I think that in my particular case, it was like really helpful because it's like a contact that you can rely on some kind of things, especially administrative ones and other kind of questions that you might have. And it was quite helpful in that sense.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, I will share this, and I have to go because my flat owner,
No problem.
probable new flat, going to my long time flat in Israel. So yeah, what for me, like actually MasaTech helped me to find a job. I was using the other company, so for me it was a great step, and yeah. And also, that's not a mention, but for me, like, if I would not meet this MasaTech, like, we promise you to find you a job, I will not believe in the possibility at all. So for me, it was like also huge psychological thing, because when you are just going for Aliyah, you came for Aliyah, you have like a limited time. You are not working on your previous job, and after this time, what if you will not found all that stuff? It feels really scary. So opportunity just like to look for your new job while working on your previous one, and come here to Israel. Like, everything is very expensive in Israel, especially for guys who is not from US. Israel is like extremely expensive. So once you came here, your money becoming lower and lower. So if you have like this possibility to come here to Israel only when you found a job, it's like a very great thing. Thank you, guys. I have to go.
Thank you for your time. I'll also answer about that. Thank you, Mike. I will also answer that from my point of view. I'm not a fellow, but as I see it, MasaTech can't guarantee a job offer. But once you get a job, we help you with your housing for your first month. We help you with Ulpan. We're helping you with social kind of group, and also we are always like educational programming. We're always here. If you need us, even when you finish the program, like we're staying connected. I don't know if like I saw Jonathan is answered already in the chat, but I don't know, Leo, if you have anything else you want to add. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You've mentioned a lot. Yeah, it's our insurance that the process is gonna go through as smoothly as possible, because the first month you have a lot of adaptations to do. Finding a house for you to be in is something that's amazing. The events that you promote and you allow us to go and make new connections and meet new people. This is also something that's very important when moving to a new place. And yeah, I think these were the most important things to me. Like, I'm here by myself. I don't have a family here. So having the insurance that I'll be connected to new people, I'll have events to go, I'll have stuff to do. This was something that was very important to me.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Maya asked, did people manage to negotiate benefits? Like, did you negotiated your benefits, salary, something about that? Did you, like, housing? I need to say, Maya, housing for the first month we're doing, we're helping you, and then afterwards you kind of like find your own housing. But you're saying if you're relocating, then your company like should give, like, you can negotiate based on that. So did you guys negotiated based on that, or negotiated prices, salaries? Sorry.
I'll answer the questions in the chat and then I'll take it going myself. With regard to negotiation, First of all, I think it's important to understand what the salaries are in Israel for the positions you're looking for with your level of experience. So, you know, and just for reference, I gave a number which was actually lower than what my company ended up giving me when they asked me what my salary expectations were. So obviously, I'm not saying this is like this with every firm, but, you know, at least in my experience, they were pretty fair about it. But yeah, having that knowledge going in is really important so that when you go into an interview, first of all, they'll ask you right away, what are your salary expectations? And then when you're offered a job, you can look at the salary and say, yeah, this is pretty much what I expected, and or no, I should be earning a lot more than this. This isn't right. If it's, you know, a few percent lower than what you want, likely it'll go up in the next year when you know, when you show that hey, I'm serious, I'm staying, this is what I want to do. Or it won't, and you'll be able to use that salary to negotiate one at a different company in the future, or you'll get a different offer and use that one to negotiate. I mean, you know, you're kind of building your career off here to be, you know, like not from scratch, but you're building a new base. So it's important to keep that in mind. Obviously, you can use what you've earned previously as, you know, leverage, but again, you're coming into a relatively new environment here. And then with regard to what David asked, well, first of all, Pila, is that more or less accurate in your eyes? Is there anything you want to add?
I can say that I know from working with a lot of fellows that negotiating the salary is something that they do. Once you get a job offer, you know they want you, and you can negotiate. It doesn't always work, and you need to remember that you're doing you have few challenges. You're switching you're relocating, changing your culture, but also you're kind of want to get I don't know, some challenge from your work, getting maybe a promotion or something, or getting to your next stage. It's really hard to do both. Sometimes, and I recommend doing what you're used to do and not taking a step forward. In case of the salary, likewise, like you can start, because we have high taxes here. The difference between 1,000 and 2,000 or something like that, it's not very high. The taxes are high, so the 1,000 and not having the 1,000, whatever, it's not very big of a difference. And once you're in a company that you feel comfortable with and you want to ask for a raise, or after a while of being there, you can do that. You can get a raise, you can get a promotion. Once they see you and they know you, it's easier to go up within a company. They would want to invest in you. So just have that in mind. Each case of its own. It's different case every time. I have now a fellow. He's not here. He couldn't join us. This is why we're recording. He got a job offer and he wanted to get a higher salary, and he negotiated, and they got it pretty well. He didn't sign the contract yet, so not jinxing it, but hopefully he'll join us next month, or and during August, hopefully. So it does happen. And Maya, you can also consult with me, consult with the team. If you have any questions, you can consult with the fellows that are here, or with other people that we can look for you that are specifically working in your position, in your job title, that they can give you some tips of their experience. I just want to go quick to the last question, and then I just want to give our great fellows like the time to enjoy their evening after a long day of work. With the permission, I'll send you via email their links to LinkedIn or email, so you can reach out. We have a lot of other fellows that will be happy to connect with you as well. So reach out to me if you have any questions. David, you asked if MasaTech connected with companies. You said that you have a hard time to put your foot in the door. Is David here? Yes, he's here. Sorry. So I can tell you that Mike that just left, he got a connection through us. through a company we used to work with, Job Hunt. And also, like Jonathan wrote to you, that he also got a job. Oh, Jonathan is not here. Now I see. Okay, Jonathan also he wrote on the chat, he got connected with a company. Leo found his own job, right, Leo? And through LinkedIn connections, which is amazing that he made. And Nelson, correct me if I'm wrong, did Fabian helped you get this job? Did he help you connect?
Yeah, the thing was really fun because while I was here, I got an offer from a company Fabian worked with, but it was like a global role. So we talked a lot about that, and we talked about technologies, and he ended up like recommending me for City. So well, I took a few interviews then, and it was a long process because it's a slow company for that kind of things. But yeah, Fabian helped.
Amazing. So Fabian is a fellow that was in MasaTech, and he worked in Citibank. And like I offer you guys often, he's from Argentina and Nelson is from Argentina. I said, why not? I'll just connect them so they can talk. And then they become friendly and chatted with each other. When Nelson came here to do a bunch of interviews, he met Fabian. And then they started like the connection with Citibank was also made by that. So it's not a median connection, but you know how you see how connections work. So David, I hope it helped you get the answer you asked. So yeah, not always MasaTech does the connection with the company, but would definitely help you get connected with people, with networking, with the companies, but maybe you won't get it directly from a company, but with someone else that can, you know, help you with the company. So like someone from a specific company that can connect you with a recruiter in some other company. So everything here in Israel is the connections. So keep that in mind. Use your connections with family and friends and fellows from here, from MasaTech. And we're looking into doing a WhatsApp group. So it will be silent, but you can also like kind of mingle there. And before wrapping it up, Talia, you wanted to say a few words?
Yes, just to say hi, everyone.
Yourself, yeah.
Yes, I'll present myself. Hi, I'm Talia. I'm the director of MasaTech. I work with Hila. So first of all, I'm happy to see whoever stayed till the end. Good for you. I think it's very important to hear firsthand. I know that the process for who of you that is going through it is you can sometimes feel lonely and very intense, and that you don't know if you're putting all the effort and if something will actually happen in the end of it. But seeing others helps. Understanding that, like you, there are others in the same situation, should make you stronger and motivated to the process, and to know there is an end, and you don't have to be in Israel to get the position in the end. And you heard all kind of stories that could really strengthen you and build yourself stronger in this process. So that's on one end. There was another thing that kept on coming on about where Masa is in the process of the placement and how involved you are. So we are here. We won't necessarily do the match if we don't have the direct connection, because sometimes it can do the opposite for you. Okay, but if we do have the connection, then we'll do it. We have strategic relationship with few big companies, but it only depends if your abilities and what you have in your CV stands for what they're looking for. For example, Lightrix, I would love to have more MasaTechs in their company. They had in the past. Whoever's been there has been hired already after, but all the open positions that they have today in the tech, none of the people that are now in the pipeline answer their criteria. So we don't want to also ruin the relationship with them. So like Lightrix, we have other companies, but we have to understand that everything is very delicate. But what we do give once a week conversation with our placement specialist, if it's Hila, if it's from behalf of Sechlav, we work with you on the CV, we give you tips, we help you explain the salary rate and all the cultural difference. And as the rest said, Leonardo landed, he came to us, getting the visa, giving him a hug, letting him feel like home, straight away bonding into a bigger group and not feeling lonely in a country. I think that's the biggest thing that MasaTech can give you. But yes, the placement process can be long and can feel very individual, but we're here to support. And we also don't want to push it because we know you have your own life back home. Okay, we know you, some of you have a full-time job, some of you have your own commitments. So we also don't want to talk to you every other day to say, what's going on, what's going on. But if you would want us to be more involved and to ask more and to be to meet once every beginning of week, of end of week, we will be happy to do it. But we also have to find the tension between overdoing it, the not understanding that it's a process, that even if someone will finish intelligence units in Israel, which is like the elite for tech world in internal Israel, the people that are here will know already what it means when someone says, I'm an exit of from a unit 8200, which is the elite unit of computer science in the army. Even for them, it can take up to 6 months after doing like 5 or 6 years in the army of experience. It can take to them a 6-month time to find a decent position in their field. So we have to understand that it's a long process and to come with a lot of air in our lungs to it, but to know that we believe of you. Like if you are on this stage, that means we see relevancy, we see your CV, stand our criteria, because there's also people we won't take registration fee and will say, you don't stand to the barrier of the minimum demands in order to find a placement in Israel in this program. So that's like my own note from everything I heard. And thank you, Ila, for facilitating this conversation. And I hope to see you all on our next one.
Yeah, just a quick word. That's it, Talia, sorry. Are you done? Just a quick word about the next one will be on the 30th. It's not for everyone. Apologies, we have another one, English speakers, but we're having one in the 30th for Spanish speakers. So Ivan, Leo, and Gabriel left already, but I messaged you already. Come and everyone else. And also the Spanish speakers, everyone, we're gonna have another one in August. Stay tuned. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day or great night. Depends where you are. And that's it. Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, take care. Thank you, fellows.